What is up, guys? It's Dzeeff here, and today we're taking a look at a deck that you guys actually voted on. So if you didn't catch the last video, you might have missed that I started a Facebook page for the channel. I figured I'm rounding now 5,000 subscribers almost, so it's probably time to make a Facebook page for the channel. And basically, on there you'll find postings of whenever I post a video, or when one of my articles gets published, or when I'm going to live stream, as well as extra content. So sometimes I upload like 5 videos at one time and keep like 4 of them unlisted, which means you can click on them and view them if you have a link, but not if you're just a regular subscriber. So I might post some of those unlisted links up there so you can get content early. And then also I'm doing things where you can kind of vote on what content you want to see, which is where this deck came from. It won out past the other deck, which was Infinity Randomizer Artifacts. So anyway, go check that out. There'll be a link in the description. It's all free, obviously, and just kind of little extra content if you want it. Anyway, for this deck, we're playing 3 Neptibus, 3 Heavy Infantry, 3 Marksmen, 2 Dragoons, and then 1 Attack Squad. So I mentioned this in the last video, but the reason that I play Attack Squad is because a lot of your combos get rid of both Dragoons out of the deck. So when you try to summon Marksman for an OTK, the only thing you have to summon is Neptibus and Heavy Infantry, and that's not enough for games. So I think playing Attack Squad is worth it just to make sure that you can OTK with Marksman after you've sent both Dragoons. This deck really needs to play Undyne, so we are playing 3 Undyne and 2 Controller. It's really important to have cards like Undyne instead of the Mermail cards, just because you want a card that can, that doesn't require anything in your hand to work, because we're playing cards that you can brick with. So Undyne is just better and more consistent than something like Pike and Tias and stuff like that. We're also playing 3 Megalo. This is our only Mermail. It's really the best one, and it's in all the builds of Atlanteans. And then it gets kind of weird, so we're playing 3 Fenrir or something. Probably like 50 people correcting me on how to pronounce it. Anyway, this card is like Aqua Spirit, except you banish 2 waters to summon it. And then also its effect, which will probably never go off, but if you run something over by battle, your opponent skips their next draw phase, which is kind of neat. But really we're just using it because it's level 4 and banishes 2 waters, because we want to use fish and swaps, which I'll show you in a second, and that requires 2 banished, of 2 of your guys to be banished. Also, he has 1,400 attacks, so you can bring back with Salvage, whereas Aqua Spirit has 1,600. But anyway, he's kind of important. We're also playing 1 Diva and 1 Moulin Glacia. While it might seem counterintuitive to play Moulin Glacia because we're banishing stuff from the graveyard, it actually makes it better, because a lot of the times what happens is you get into the late game and there's like 9 waters in grave. And this way you can banish like 4 of them and then Moulin Glacia. You can also banish Moulin Glacia and then like add it back to your hand, which is kind of stupid. And then there's always like putting 5 waters in your grave, summoning Moulin Glacia, and then summoning the Fenrir. So I still think it's worth playing. For hand traps, it's what I've been playing for a while now. Just 2 Maxi and 2 Ghost Ogre. Veiler would definitely be in the side deck for Monarchs and stuff. 3 Instant Fusion, still one of the best cards in this deck. This might be the deck that can play Instant Fusion to the most advantage, just because you can bring back Dragoons and make water exceed monsters and get Dragoons effects. And then we're playing 3 Fish and Swaps, so this card lets you discard a card to add back 2 of your banished Aqua, Fish, or Sea Serpents. That's pretty much the entire deck, except the hand traps. I think it's the entire deck except the hand traps, controllers, and then the Fenrir, because Undyne is an Aqua, not a machine. So basically the plan with this deck is to banish stuff like, you banish, like after you do your combo, you banish like a Megalo and a Dragoons with Fenrir, and then you fish and swaps to add them back to your hand. So it just kind of like extends your combo. And it's really cool. Like, you can do a lot of stupid plays with this. And you can like recycle divas, but mainly it's to recycle Dragoons and Megalo, cards that are like normally impossible to get out of the grave with any sort of consistent way. So we're playing 2 Murray of Greed in this deck. I cut this from like regular Atlantean builds, but this deck can brick a lot. You really don't want a hand that's like all Fenrirs, because that's kind of trash. And even if your hand is like multiple Atlanteans in a Fenrir, that's not really good. So we want to play 2 Murray of Greed to draw into better cards. Because getting to that first Undyne and first Neptibus is really important. 1 Salvage, just because it can add back the Fenrirs. I mean, it can add back other stuff like Diva and Neptibus and Marksman and Heavy Infantry and Undyne, but mainly just to add back the Fenrir. 1 for 1, just to get to Neptibus. 1 Twin Twisters, and then 1 Abyss Guild, the Mizuchi. You could probably cut the Twin Twisters if you want to. This is a 41 card deck, but I don't know. I would either cut the Twin Twisters, or I mean, I guess you could cut one of the Murray of Greeds, but I think 2 is really necessary in this deck because you want to not brick. The extra deck is pretty standard, so we have 2 Dweller, a 101, Castel, Snowdust Giant, which I mentioned in the last video, but basically you make them with 2 waters, you detach 1 water to reveal as many waters in your hand as possible, and then your opponent's monsters lose 200, and then you put a counter on this for every water revealed, and then your opponent's monsters lose 200 attack for every counter. This is especially good in this deck because you usually do have a lot of waters in your hand because of the fission swaps. 1 Bahamut Shark, 1 Trite, and then 1 Abyss-Gaios. That's it for the Exceed monsters. That's really dark. It's an Abyss-Gaios. For the Synchros, Tatsunoko, Nothing, Gungnir, Black Rose, and Trish, and then just 2 Norden. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck that you picked, and make sure to check out the Facebook page if you want to have a say in what decks I post, and I guess if you want to just know more about the Dzeeff experience. But I will see you guys later.